Hi everybody, happy St. Patrick's Day, and welcome to Pardo's Turn, my ongoing web series and podcast for lovers and nerds of the musical theater. I have to apologize for my long hiatus. I've been busy with shows up at Goodspeed, at Yale, and a couple readings, many of which involved some heavy arranging and orchestration. But now, thanks to COVID-19, I am home with nothing to do and no excuses. The guest for today's episode, the great PJ Griffith, actually sat down with me far before the coronavirus even hit China, so trust me that we are both being responsible and utilizing social distancing. Please do the same. PJ and I did a reading of a rock show called Mythic a few years back under the title Persephone Unplugged, but he is best known for playing St. Jimmy in American Idiot on Broadway, Giant at the Public, Assassins at Yale Rep, tours of We Will Rock You and Mamma Mia, and his current gig starring in Rock of Ages Off-Broadway, which I hope will be back up and running very soon. With so many rock shows behind him and a long history as a frontman with several bands, I wanted to talk with PJ about performing in these types of pieces, especially after picking Joe Church's brain last fall, examining these shows from a music director's point of view. PJ and I decided on the Queen song, The Seas of Rhye, off their second album and prominently featured in their jukebox musical We Will Rock You. As a pianist, I love that song because it starts off with a killer piano lick, rhythmically arpeggiating the major tonic and the subdominant chords. It's somehow both joyful and threatening as the band kicks in with aggressive power chords and a strong drum fill. For the super nerds, I should mention that this lick was actually teased as an instrumental track at the end of Queen's self-titled debut album. In my conversation with Joe in the fall, we talk about the role of the piano in rock bands and how it's definitely outside the core assembly of bass, guitar, and drums. But as the rock of the 50s and 60s gave way to the glam bands and prog rock of the 70s and 80s, keyboards became more and more prominent with Dennis DeYoung of Styx, Rick Wakeman of Yes, Keith Emerson of ELP, and Jim Steinman's Meatloaf tunes. Not to mention the breakout keyboard rockers Billy Joel, Elton John, and Stevie Wonder. In many of these overproduced keyboard-heavy songs, the sound and the lyrics lend themselves to folkloric images and epic narratives. With tracks like Ogre Battle and The March of the Black Queen, many critics thought that Queen's second record was intended as some kind of concept album. While the band members shot down the notion, it still sparks the imagination. And when it came time to dramatize the Queen musical, The Seas of Rhye, with its quasi-Renaissance language, screaming guitar solos, and soaring vocals, plays an important part. Starting up Act 2, it's where the villain Khashoggi rounds up the Bohemians to perform a mass brain drain and find out more about the prophecy. Yes, it's just about as over the top as you would expect. With jukebox musicals, I don't know how important it is to deconstruct the songs on a granular level like I do other musical theater songs, unless they were maybe drastically rearranged. But Seas of Rhye definitely informs the performance style and overall aesthetic, giving full permission for big, bold, otherworldly acting choices and large, expressive vocals. Coming from the overt tradition of glam rock and heavy metal, the song warrants a full-bodied delivery with all the pyrotechnics and glitter that the props department can provide. Let's see what PJ has to say about it. Hey PJ.
What's up, buddy?
Thanks so much for doing this. I know we're both kind of running from
we are
places.
running between gigs right now.
So one of the last episodes that I posted was with this guy, Joseph Church, who's a really great music
Tommy, right?
Yeah, the original MD of Tommy.
Right,
we had a really great conversation about rock music in musical theater.
Absolutely.
And I just thought you were a perfect person to bring on and kind of bring that theory to practice.
Absolutely.
You're starring in Rock of Ages now Off-Broadway.
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Did you perform in any previous iterations of the show? Or
I haven't. No, this is my maiden voyage. So it's been in my crosshairs for a long time. I auditioned for the original Broadway.
And you've kind of been dancing around every similar show.
I have.
You were on tour with We Will Rock You, the Queen show, and you were was it replacement cast for American Idiot?
American Idiot. Yep. I came in for St. Jimmy for a while.
That's awesome.
It's been a lot of fun. A lot of the whole jukebox circuit. Yeah, Mamma Mia back in the day.
Right.
As a kid, yeah.
And one of the original Rents, is that right?
I did the regional premiere of Rent with a bunch of in LA. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
You don't exclusively do rock shows, but that compromises most of your resume.
Yeah.
What's your rock background? How did you get into this type of singing?
You know what? I come from a family that just loves rock and roll. My brothers and I have always had bands, so Yeah, I've fronted a few bands around New York and LA, and that's kind of always where my passion has been, and it's kind of led into got my theater side and then the rock and roll side. So I love when the two come together.
Are they bands that we can like find on iTunes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do a quick plug.
Absolutely. They're bands that don't exist anymore, but if you're on iTunes and Apple Music, I fronted the band Blue Movie, which has got maybe 2-3 EPs out there, and do vocals for this old thrash metal band EXE. This album called Anti-Hero of a Thousand Faces, which is like a cool 80s thrash metal band that came back together to bang out a couple new songs.
Your rock side and your theater side kind of coexisted together, or did one?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, absolutely. Funny story. My opening night on Broadway, my Broadway debut, and the only Broadway show I've ever done is American Idiot, and I booked it really quick and out of the blue because it was a replacement. And I had a show with my old band Blue Movie. One of our first shows was actually that night at this cool venue called Crash Mansion downtown.
Okay.
It was a rainy, gloomy night like today, so I literally kept my eye makeup on from American Idiot, came off stage, got in a cab, and then did a show literally, I think, within 20 minutes of the curtain going down.
Now, the function of rock music in the theatrical context, I think, varies according to the show.
Absolutely.
In some ways, it's kind of like almost like a rock concert, and in other ways, like I think Mamma Mia and some of the more pop shows, they function like a traditional musical, except rather than
the narrative. Yeah.
How do you approach the different roles, depending on how much storytelling there is?
Yeah, interesting question, because it's very. I think the director, I think, totally manages that. Whether like tonally, are the characters acknowledging that they're singing rock songs?
Right.
Like Rock of Ages, like say Rock of Ages versus Rent, totally different worlds.
Absolutely.
Totally different genre. I mean, Rock of Ages is very self-conscious, that very self-aware, like we're banging out some 80s hair metal and everyone's screaming and ripping their shirts off.
I want to rock, yeah, I want to rock.
Versus like the emotional narrative of everything that's going on Rent, moment to moment. So, yeah, it's interesting that there's so many different, and then there's some that kind of bridge that gap of like almost like an expressionistic use of the music. I saw Girl from North Country. I don't know if you guys see that coming up. And then another beautiful, like remixing these Dylan songs, and it just kind of splits the difference almost. But yeah, so I always feel like it seems like director to director, they just kind of, even within the jukebox musical genre, the like self-awareness of the popularity of the song, or the fact that it's a big, bold, screamy song, it seems that is an interesting difference.
Does Rock of Ages break the fourth wall? Do you interact?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Okay.
I personally interact with. I throw panties through the fourth wall,
Excellent.
and I walk through the audience all the time and harass people every night. Yeah, it's a very fourth wall breaking show. And Lonnie, played by Mitch Jarvis and Matt Wolpe, his entire show is like a stand-up show. Just singing on the audience. So yeah.
I've worked with Matt very, very briefly, and I've worked with his dad Lenny a couple times.
Oh yeah. What a family. That guy is those are from funny. That's some funny blood right there.
One of the non-rock shows that you've done was Giant at the Public, which Michael John LaChiusa is very different.
Very different, but a rock star in himself.
Yes.
Has got is a fascinating character who writes in so many different genres, just pulls so many different things together.
What was your path to find your way into that show?
You know what? It was in this studio. I had actually auditioned for the tour of Next to Normal to play the doctor in that, and got to the very end of that, and Michael Greif was simultaneously doing a reading of Giant, and I didn't get that, but he said, why don't we recast this role? It's a kind of shady ranch hand turned just megalomaniac billionaire. He's like, this guy's perfect. So I just went in for that, and just literally sat in a room with him, Michael John LaChiusa, and Oscar Eustis. And had to pound out 2 Michael John LaChiusa songs with no demos or anything that I just had my piano player play out. And they ended up being The Dog Is Gonna Bark, which I did in a totally wrong tempo, like probably 40 BPM too fast. And then he's like, that's not how this song goes, man. And Private Property, which is an artsy, weird piece. Yeah, 2 auditions, and then it ended up being 2 years of developing this beautiful piece that only a few people got to see. It ran in Dallas, and then it ran at the Public for like a month to sold out audiences, but it never kind of got its commercial.
Well, it got the cast album.
The cast album was cool, yeah. We banged that out in 2 days, that whole thing. That was just so much material. I was like, one take, good enough, go. So it's good, but that's a beautiful piece that I really love, and that whole cast and that creative team was just everybody at the top of their game.
One of the, I don't know if you would call it theater or theater adjacent projects that you've been a part of is the the famous Sleep No More.
Yes,
Is that something that you can talk about? I know it's
I can't
okay.
give too many secrets, but I did
Okay.
work for them. That was a couple years ago. It's an immersive theatrical production where the audience has basically autonomy to walk around this hotel, which is a 5-story hotel, and within them a story is told that they may or may not get, which kind of blends the Scottish play. We can say Macbeth in here.
Okay, sure.
It blends Macbeth with with Rebecca, Hitchcock's Rebecca, and the Paisley Witch Trials. There's an actual narrative, and it's told through a lot of narrative dance, told through a lot of jazz, told through a crazy soundtrack. There's a lot of one-on-one things. There's a lot of secrets, so it's a fantastic piece. It is a detail, or the devil's in the details of that piece. You can kind of piece it together almost like a film noir, like you're a detective, or who did what and what's going on. But
are there specific like roles and tracks and
oh
lines
yes,
that you have? Okay.
oh absolutely. There's specific roles and tracks. I played it's all very cryptic. I played the man in the bar who kind of hosts the night and welcomes everyone in and just gets the privilege of doing a couple songs with the band, which are just like kind of some of the top jazz players in the city, who in this dark, shadowy speakeasy, so I get to bang out maybe like 5 songs a night with them. While I was doing American Idiot, I saw it after a late night show and just fell in love with it and sent the company manager. I'm like, listen, I'm not a dancer, but like if anything opens up,
neat.
you need a big, goofy, loud singer. Like I would love.
Pay us to reach out.
It hit squeaky wheel, baby. Squeaky wheel. Hey, and so many facets. It's like how many gigs come out of it just like being like, I love your work.
Great. So we were kind of throwing out a couple options of things to explore, and one song that we kind of both thought might be interesting is Seas of Rhye.
Absolutely.
It's not from We Will Rock You, but it's a Queen song that was featured.
That's so popular in the UK, but people don't really know that song.
It's interesting. I could have sworn that because I have a couple of Queen albums proper, but I also have like their 2-disc greatest hits.
Yeah.
And I was shocked.
Is it even on?
I don't think it is. I know it's not. I have their songbook as well, and it's not in their songbook.
Yeah.
Which,
but in the UK, everybody knows it because it's musically so all over the place. It's got prog rock, it's got some like R&B, it's got straight up opera, screamy high notes into the stratosphere.
How is the song used in the context of We Will Rock You? Because
absolutely. Khashoggi. He's the bad guy in We Will Rock You.
Okay.
And he basically it opens up Act 2 with that crazy piano riff. It's got that yeah. It's almost like pinball wizardy, like level of like intensity, like and then big guitars.
But written for the piano.
Yeah, and Freddy would play that. Yes. Freddie would play that, and then he'd wail out the highest screaming Queen vocals, and they feature I think in the movie. But anyways, and We Will Rock You opens up Act 2. Khashoggi has captured the Bohemians, like the young punk uprising, and he's torturing them while electrocuting them, and lasers. There's a laser cage, and it's like a lot going on. It's a noisy number. A lot of fun, that number. We would laugh hysterically in that number because it's got that big blazing guitar solo in the middle, and that was a whole lot. I'm not a dancer, but I had this whole like kind of flossy dance with handsome dancer dudes. So it's fun. It's a fun number, and We Will Rock You. It's one of those kind of everybody who's done We Will Rock You knows this song inside out because everyone has to sing it, and it's a crazy, crazy, crazy number.
Cool. Let's give it a shot.
Let's do it, dude. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Pardo on the Blacks and Whites. Everywhere.
Alright, so thanks so much to PJ for coming on today.
Thanks for having me, dude.
If you like this episode, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, share, And we'll see you next time on Pardo's Turn. Thanks, man.
Pleasure, Ben.